Confirmation bias is the tendency we have to twist and turn data and evidences to suit our own pet notions and theories. Suppose I wish to buy a car. I step into a showroom and decide the brand and model of the car. I come out of the showroom and spot two cars of the same model that I had decided to buy. So I get excited and exclaim to my friend, there are so many cars of the same model on the road. Therefore, I should have been correct. My friend points out that there were 2-3 other cars of some other brands also on the road. However, I discard those inputs and dismiss them as exceptions. This tendency to interpret any new data, evidence, information, observation to suit our own pre-existing mental models, beliefs, theories, and convictions is called as confirmation bias. And in this process, we also filter out any worthwhile input which is coming from the environment as a non-conforming exception. Warren Buffett once said, what the human being is best at doing is interpreting all new information so that their prior conclusions remain intact. Consider this classic illustration of confirmation bias. A professor presented a sequence of numbers 2, 4, 6 to his students, and then he asked them to find out the rule underlying the sequence. And in order to help them determine this particular rule, he said they can guess the fourth number in the sequence, and if the fourth number is fitting the rule, he would say yes. If it does not fit the rule, he would say no. And based on this, they could guess the exact rule of the sequence. So most of the students said 2, 4, 6 and then 8. And then the professor looked at the rule and said it fits the rule. So most of them said the rule is to add 2 to the last number. The professor said no. So one student tried a different approach. He said 7. Yeah, it fits the rule, he said. But the student was not satisfied. So he said, what about 12? It fitted the rule. So 14 also as a fourth number was fitting the rule. And he asked about 9 and 9.5 and -5. For -5, the professor said it does not fit the rule. And the student wanted to know what about -7? That was yes. And -8.5 also fitted the rule. Apparently, he had an idea and he was trying to find a flaw with his idea. Only when he could no longer find a counter example, the student said the rule is the absolute value of the next number must be higher than the previous number. And that is exactly what the professor had written in his paper. What distinguished the resourceful student from the others? While the majority of the students sought merely to confirm their theories, he tried to find fault with his own theory, consciously looking for non-conforming evidence. And in that process, he was fine-tuning it and strengthening his theory. Planners also exhibit a lot of confirmation bias during the planning phase of projects. They wish to state all reasons why their estimates of durations and resources would be valid, not once bothering to think if there could be some other way of completing the task on hand. They wish to confirm that their original thinking is always correct. What was earlier one way of doing things becomes the only way of doing things. Soon it deteriorates into the only way I know.